A friend of mine recently asked me for a singing lesson, and what she asked me is, I haven't sung before, do you think it's possible for me to learn to sing? And I felt really sad that she'd had to ask me this, because I get the feeling that a question like that maybe comes from, is influenced by the X Factor culture that we've got, which encourages people to think that there are either those who can sing or those who can't, and that's it. And I just feel so angry about this myth, really, because it stops people from trying to learn to sing when they believe that. They just think, oh, I'm not a singer. And singing brings so much joy to people, to me, to be able to sing with other people, to be able to share music wherever I am, just with my voice. That's a really big thing. And I'd like to encourage more people to learn to sing. The way that I see it is that singing is a little bit like running. Actually, most people, if they're physically able to, there's nothing stopping them about their body, there's nothing wrong with their body that might stop them from running, they can run. And then you've got those people who just got straight up the minute that they were able to run at all, and that's what they love doing and that's what they did. And those people seem like they're natural runners because they've been running recreationally or training basically their whole life. They spent a lot of hours doing that, a lot of hours training their body and getting better at that, so that seems to come naturally to them. And I see natural singers in the same way. They're the people who just started singing as soon as they were able to find their voice and never stopped, so they've got in a lot of singing hours. Someone who's a couch potato for their whole life could suddenly decide to get up and learn to run. Their body would still be physically capable of that, but they would have to train. And that's the same with singing. If someone hasn't sung very much in their whole life and they decide that they want to learn to sing, then they have to train. It's as simple as that. And there's no point in going to their voice, making an attempt at singing, finding that it doesn't go as they want it to, and saying, oh, that's because I'm not a natural singer. What's much more likely is it's because they haven't trained. Tone deafness is actually very rare unless there's something physically wrong with the voice. Learning to sing should just be a matter of time spent and of good training. I know that because I am that person. I was definitely the person who was told some 10 years ago by various people I wouldn't bother learning to sing. But it's something that I persisted at, something that I got tuition at, I trained at, I put a lot of time into it. And for me, it's really paid off. I even had someone who I lived with who used to try and discourage me from practicing because they were so worried about how disappointed I might be if I found out that I could never actually sing. And that person later, when they heard my voice after all the time training, they apologised and said, I really didn't know that that was possible. And that's not because I was such a terrible singer in the first place. That's, I think, is because we've got this culture of either you can sing or you can't sing. So if you're thinking of learning to sing, by all means, I absolutely encourage you to do it. And I encourage you to get some tuition, to put in some practice hours, to have a lot of fun with those practice hours, to have fun singing with other people, and not to be embarrassed, because you are training your voice. It's not a case of being embarrassed about what that voice sounds like as it's progressing. It's about knowing that you are on the path to learning to sing and enjoying that every step of the way, because that's how it should be.